Oh man. What's up, man? Jamie Gonzalez.
I'm Shad Stoker.
Born Detailer Podcast. We're in full effect.
Right into it. Let's go.
Yeah, bro. We're ready, dude. We're freaking going, dude. Thank you guys. Thank you.
Far too kind.
Yes, we're good. What's up?
Chilling, man. How are
Man,
you?
what's the deal, bro? How are you?
Good. Staying busy. Things are
Yeah, dude.
starting to pick
crazy.
up for the summer.
Oh,
we don't
man,
have a lot
dude.
of slow time, but it's really starting to pick up now.
Yeah, dude. I've been the same thing, man. I've been just freaking going crazy.
Got a lot going on.
Yeah, dude.
You just added a whole new sector to your shop.
Yeah, no, I've had it like it was just kind of a random thing, so we needed more space. So
So you have 4 units in here now?
units,
5 units.
Yeah, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4,
And then
5.
yeah.
This is 5.
Yeah. And that one you just added is a good one, man. It's a great unit.
That was the size of 3 of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, so no, it's good, man. You know, there's really no trick in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's just being ready. It's, part of the time is right place, right time.
How do you know when you're ready? That's what I want to know. Is how when you have this opportunity, because it's not like you were actively looking. It was like you kind of thought you might need some more space, or you knew you needed some more space, but you weren't actively necessarily looking. But then this opportunity presented itself. How did you step back and say, "All right, is now the right time"?
I've kind of learned over the years. Obviously there's stupid decisions, there's good decisions. Like, oh, this is gonna pan out. And obviously it's like not necessarily gambling is business, but it is more of I feel like it's easy to gamble on yourself when you know that you're a dedicated person and you know that you're gonna go hard. Like, and you don't like to fail. Like, obviously there's stupid things that it's like, oh dude, there's a storage facility, cool, it's gonna work out, let's just do it. Like, we'll figure that out. It's easy plug and play. But I think the main thing is I get to this level of discomfort almost. Like, it's almost, if it's uncomfortable, it's probably a good decision, because hard things,
Yeah.
being not comfortable and knowing when that, like, say if you have an investment or you're buying a property, you're something like, oh dang, it's kind of scary. But for me, that's kind of calming a little bit, because I know, like, all right, this could fail,
Right.
but discomfort always,
Absolutely.
it's always going to be better win at the end.
Yeah.
If it's something easy, it's not going to work.
It's not a win. If it's
Yeah,
easy,
yeah.
it's a win. So you have enough belief in yourself that you are going to make it. You're going to figure out a way to make it work. But
Yeah.
you're not reckless, right? It is uncomfortable, but you're not like it wasn't like, oh, I'm going to buy the whole place, or I'm going to I'm going to expand from 3 shops to 100. Like, it was a calculated risk. You knew this was a risk because I didn't necessarily have an exact thing for it, but I know that I can do a few of these things, move things to over here, and make it work. But it comes from the belief in yourself that you're going to do whatever it takes to make it work.
Yeah. And the people around me, so that's the thing. It's like, if you got to do there, I don't know, man. If it's easy, just kind of stay away from
Right.
it. Like, that's
Right.
the thing is, everyone wants the easy route. They look at it, oh, this paint protection film company is doing good. And they look at them and they're like, dude, that looks easy. I want to do that.
Right.
Versus a window tinting company. You get into these businesses and you get around these people that you, in the back of your mind, you kind of look up to them and you're like, oh, he doesn't deserve that. I can work just as hard as him. They don't see, they don't see the whole hard work. They just see
Right.
that easy part. Versus me going into something knowing it's going to be hard. That's more the challenge that I want to be around. It's not necessarily
dude,
a challenge. It's just knowing, like, dude, that's going to be, we could do it. It's in our realm. Like, I'm not going to rock it. I don't have an engineering degree. I don't have all these other things. I would never put myself, but I
Right.
do know cars.
Right.
I do know detail. I know auto body. I know dents. I know, that this side of the, whatever the industry we're in, that's the one thing I do know. But, and I'm not going to take something on to stab somebody. I feel like a lot of people, like, I had a good friend of mine, shop opened up, and he was actually one of my partners, and another shop opened up and they had a paint booth and it was all set up already, and he's like, oh, I can just move right into it. So him not knowing the back end that I know, he just knew how to do the work side of it. He left and now he's over there. But anyway, long story short, he's not in business anymore. But whatever, it just failed. But
people see the easy, they see the end result, and they think, oh, that looks easy, I can do that, right? Like you were saying. But like something I've heard a lot that I love is an overnight success 10 years in the making. You see that I'm a success now, but you haven't seen the 10 years of failure, the 15 years of blood, sweat, and tears that I put into getting all the failures that I had along the way. You're only seeing the end result. It looks easy now, but it looks easy because I've done all the work to learn how to make it look easy, right?
Yeah.
And going back to what you were saying earlier, like you see an opportunity and it's uncomfortable, but instead of overanalyzing it or thinking, oh, I have to know 100%, because if you would have waited, if you would have overanalyzed and like really figured out exactly what you were going to do at that space, you would have lost the space.
You miss opportunity. So you have to learn to take those calculated
risks.
Definitely calculated risk, but you just sometimes the guy, it's crazy because there's two people. So my son and my daughter. So we're raised the same. They're both awesome. My daughter just sometimes just goes at it and just does stuff. My son, he's a little bit methodical. Like he'll read and he likes to know a lot and
wants to understand.
There's just two different types of people, and I feel like, and I start to, my daughter, I'm like, dude, you got to calm your ass down. Like you can't just go and do that. Like all of a sudden last week she was there's an app, a Spanish teaching app, and I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm learning Spanish. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean? Versus like, but she's just like that. And then there's just different types of people.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Different people, sometimes if you overanalyze and you really talk yourself out, you're gonna
lose opportunities.
Pros and cons, and sometimes it's just not worse. It's like, yo, believe in yourself,
yeah.
And then everything will fall into place. You'll go ahead and, that's
act.
it.
Yeah, act. So one of my favorite sayings that I've heard one of my favorite sayings ever is ready, fire, aim. Right? Fire. Take the shot and then figure it out as you go. Like I've talked about missiles in the past that they slowly course correct until they get to their target. They don't just instantly get there. You have to be willing to get out of your comfort zone and take calculated risks and reevaluate as you go. Like that new spot, it may be this, it may be that, it may turn into this. You're going to probably evolve that a few times until you find out exactly what you're going to do with that. But you have enough faith and belief in yourself because you've done the work over the course of the last 15 years to get yourself to this point. You have belief in yourself, but you built that belief by doing small things, by starting with smaller things, right?
Yeah,
you started with these little things, and then you worked up to big things. Like people, sometimes they make the mistake of not taking any risk or taking too big a risk. They see this big shiny thing and they go all in, and it's too big. You have to do the little discomforts and work your way up to being able to have belief in yourself to do the bigger things.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, my first shop was off of down the street in South Salt Lake. It was in the back of a dealership in like their darkest corner. No heat, it was horrible. It was the worst, the leaking roof. It was the worst possible spot you could be. And right off the bat, that first month, I was like, bro, I need to work more and everything was just turned into comfort. Like, dude, I need a freaking bomb ass. If I'm gonna be here all the time and I'm the type of person that's gonna work a lot, I need to be comfortable. I need to have high speed internet. I gotta have good food. I gotta have my coffee. I gotta have my good, I need to, all that stuff. So I just mainly not necessary to grow the business. I wanted to grow my comfort. Mm-hmm. So it's not necessarily to have, things or, whatever. It's mainly, it's like, no, this is what I do. I'm about this, and I want to build this comfortably. Mm-hmm. My day-to-day life, whether, some people need to have, whatever. Me, I need to be able to come to a place with the workout here, internet, like chill, food, like everything that I have at my house is what I want here.
Right. Yeah.
And whatever. It's like there's always better things. But the thing I wanted to talk to you about, though, is another thing is like a lot of guys that before they have their detailing side figured out, they want to go into the next thing. Versus like especially like I always have mobile guys come and help us. Mm-hmm. And a couple of them actually went off. Now they have their own shops and do, but we always like any overflow, we'll have someone come and do that. But a lot of them, because I have friends that are PPF shops and tent shops, I'll send them, we kind of will use them. But almost, I would say 9 out of 10 of them get out of detailing and right away want to become a PPF shop or want to become a tent shop or installers, something, whatever. They want to do that versus if they would have just hired 2 employees or another guy or something like that versus they go into something else. First of all, they didn't have their first business master.
Right. Which if you're not willing to put in the reps to master what you're doing right now, what makes you think that you're going to be willing to put in the work to master the next thing or the PPF thing? Like that's a great point. Like master or perfect to the greatest capability that you can what you're currently doing. Because worst case scenario, like you cut that income off, you stop doing detailing, now you're only doing PPF. What happens if the economy changes or PPF, can't be produced or whatever the case may be? What happens if the world changes and people are no longer doing PPF to the extent that they are now?
Yeah,
and then you have to go back and
that's another thing you can do too. But the person I'm talking about, he was around 3 different successful business owners that were hustlers. You just for another whatever. First of all, he's not going to be making any money for a while, but he just literally just slapped us all in the face because they all can do that.
Yeah.
Every one of my guys can do. All the shops that I work with, they can all do paint correction. They all can do touch up. They can all do dents. They can all do They could do that, but why?
Right.
When they know that I'm a grinder and I know they grind at what they're doing, they're gonna give me work. We're all gonna shuffle. We're all gonna eat together. It's just that's just such a cheap thing to do when you don't even have what you're doing on lock.
Right.
It's more about figure out what you're trying to do, and versus be jealous and think someone's making all this money, I feel like a lot of times it does come down to that when it's like, bro, like you have no idea. Like this is more of a culture than that, bro.
Right.
Like we're here. Anyways.
Well, but it takes a lot of investment in time and energy, but also financially. People don't discount that. Like they think I can go do PPF, and we're using PPF just as an example.
It's any business,
right?
Like, dude, all construction guys freaking. If you talk to any wood dude or anybody in any industry, they don't want to train people because they're scared that they're going to move on to be their own. Versus if they would just create a team atmosphere or create something, they wouldn't have to worry about everyone just leaving them,
People discount, and especially in detailing, the intrapreneur role. Everyone wants to be an entrepreneur. Everyone wants to own their own business and have their own detailing shop and have their own this and have their own that. They discount the place and the productivity of being an intrapreneur. Finding a company that you can work in as an entrepreneur, help to build that business, right? But so you kind of have the same benefits as an entrepreneur, but you don't have the same risk. But then you have a little bit of a safety net as well. Because the reality is not all of us are cut out to be business owners. And that's not saying you can't build yourself to that, but it's harder. It's a lot harder for a lot of people to build yourself to, because it's not just the work, man. It's the mental mind. The mental mind fuck is unbelievable in being a business owner. It is like Jamie.
Stress.
Dude,
yeah.
One of Jamie's biggest stresses, and we talk about this a lot, and I identify with this, but he has a team of people that he is responsible for providing for. If there's not work, those people don't eat. So that is a stress that you will never know until somebody's livelihood, until somebody's paycheck is your responsibility. Somebody's children, not your children. Your children are different, but somebody's children, someone's children's children eating is your responsibility. That is an unbelievable responsibility that it fucks with your mind. People don't understand how hard that is until they're in that position.
Yeah, but some people just don't want it too. Like
For sure.
someone don't. Their goal isn't financial.
Yeah.
So that's a hard thing to as a business owner. That's a hard thing to realize. Like, dude, this dude does not care about money, or any management position. Like, you got to figure out what do you want? Like, what is your day to day? Like, what do you want in the long run? You know what I mean? So it's dude, the game's crazy.
And managing people is hard.
Yeah, but figure out main thing this is figure out how to kill it at that one thing and then add.
Perfect that one thing. That's a huge point. Perfect that one area that you're in and then expand. Because again, like I said earlier, if you're not willing to perfect what you're doing now, you're not going to be willing to perfect the next thing or the next thing or the next thing. So it's always going to be a half-assed effort going forward. Have the discipline to perfect what you're in now.
And then you have something to fall back on.
For sure.
All right, peace out. Born Detailer Podcast. Jamie Gonzalez.
I'm Shad Stoker.
Hey, comment. Thank you guys, man. Peace.